Welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast, a slice of joy and healing with your host, Dr. Altreisha Foster. This is a heartwarming and uplifting space that celebrates the transformative power of baking therapy. The conversations will be a delightful blend of inspirational stories, expert insights, and practical baking tips. Each episode will take listeners on a journey of self-discovery, emotional healing, and connection through the therapeutic art of baking. There's something here for everyone, so lock in and let's get into it.
Hi guys, welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast with me, your host, Dr. Altreisha Foster. So today's episode, I'm really excited. Well, I'm not sure if I'm so excited. I know it's me being transparent, I guess. I wanted to stop in, to share with you, our listeners, how much I appreciate the love and the excitement around the Cake Therapy Podcast. Geez, thank you for supporting this new baby of mine. I've enjoyed your listenership. I've enjoyed, getting your feedback. But this space is really intended um, for that, to talk about what people are experiencing as they're baking and what they've baked through, their trauma. And, as I was sitting on the plane the other day for coming back from visiting my mom, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, I need to touch base with our listeners to kind of first tell them Happy New Year. I know we're much further down in the year, but first, Happy New Year to you. And I'm just wishing that your 2024 is uber successful, right? I want you to be able to say, I've listened to the Cake Therapy Podcast and I've learned so much. And here's a recipe I'm going to try. I'm going to at least try this one recipe to see if I could heal some things, can take me out of this place of confusion and hurt that that you currently exist in, I would say. But besides that, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that I've been baking through. Um, so last year, our podcast started off with Ron Ben Israel, Marina Machado, Cakes by Ray Anderson. And believe me, we still have a lot in store, a lot of conversations. You've heard from Portia Kimball. We have conversations with Lima Cakes coming up. We have um, conversations with Ivy and Stone, the Ink Sweets, Flora House Cakes, and the list goes on and on. And I'm really excited to bring to you these conversations because I know that these are conversations that people want to hear, people have enjoyed listening to. So, thank you. Thank you for listening. And thank you for encouraging me over the few months since I've launched this podcast that yes, you can. Whatever you've dreamt for yourself and what you dreamt about for this podcast can come to fruition, can be a success, and it can provide some healing to our listeners going forward. So following, those amazing conversations like Cakes by Ray Anderson and Ron Ben Israel's Cakes, they had like Christmas or holiday shows. So we've seen those, they did well, and I'm excited for those people, and I'm excited that they participated in our conversations. So kudos to them. So shout out to Ron Ben Israel Cakes and Cakes by Ray Anderson for having these holiday specials over in December. Have you guys listened to Dee Dee Charter and Jessica's episode? Listen, I'm a track fan, okay? And that conversation with Dee Dee and her sous chef Jessica was amazing. It was such I felt so comfortable. It was a place of understanding and sisterhood, and that was an amazing conversation for us. But let's just hop right into why I hopped on here. I've decided to take my turn at the mic. What am I baking through? I want to be as authentic in this space, to be completely honest. And my holidays weren't so good, and they weren't so great for a myriad of reasons. And I was in the kitchen, and I was making my Auntie Nellie's fruitcake. I made batches of that fruitcake and gave them away because my holiday wasn't good at all. And I wanted to find some solace in a cake that had meaning to me, in a recipe that holds so much joy and happiness to me. And so I over the holidays I really baked my Auntie Nellie's fruitcake. And why the holidays were really stressful for me, because my mom, my beloved Lorna, my chapter 3 in cake therapy, how baking changed my life, became ill. So over the years, my mother had been struggling with Parkinson's disease. She's a 20 odd year. She survived breast cancer over 2 decades. But she had been struggling with Parkinson's disease. But this is a neurological disease, right? That I would say, as my husband would say, that it progresses. So it's a progressive disease. And for me, I I always saw my mom as this strong, vibrant, can do it all. When I think of my mom, I think of strength, I think of grace, I think of grit, I think of beauty personified, I think of empathy, I think of, my goodness, the best there is, and the best there. She is like the champion of it all. So having her health decline and watching it decline has been one of the darkest, hardest journeys of my life. And the love I have for my mom is, I can't even describe it. She is my only parent. She parented me. My father gave up on the dream of me. My mother didn't. She gave it all to me. And then having to watch her decline has been something that has been slowly breaking my heart. Over the holidays, I would say my mom, actually over the summer, I believe I started to see, my brother and I started to see the progression of her disease become a little bit more apparent, where mom would start, she was hallucinating. But when I say, like, the hallucinations could easily be overlooked sometimes, because they were so tied in with mom's personality as she was getting older, like I would say, I should say. And so for me, I was guilty of overlooking it. Even when my brother kept saying, like, no, like, mom's declining, I was like, no, because who wants to really believe and see that their mother is declining in health? But she was. And I had to force myself to get to that place. And as I was forcing myself to get to that place, like, pieces of me were dying. Like, how can I continue to work on anybody's contract, being this broken girl? I'm watching my mother leave. She is disappearing within herself. And anybody who's had a parent who was advanced, or I should say, my mother has the end stage of Parkinson's disease, is as now metamorphosized, into what is now viewed as dementia. My mom has full-blown dementia right now. And even getting to that diagnosis for me was hard because, like, I didn't want to see my mom as sick for a very, very long time. And I was in denial. And no matter how much money you have and how much money you want to throw at this thing, like my mom was still advanced. The disease was still advancing. And I say this, and I mentioned the money part because I was simply like working this hard to give my mom the world. Like my mother, like I am at a place where I can take my mom to places that she's only read about or dream about. But now, I'm giving her I'm giving her medicines to fix a problem from places that she could have only dreamt about. So the form in which my mom's experiencing the world is through medicine and not through vacations. And I started to replay, some of those moments when I should have, you know, where I should have, and we've decided to like just wait, she's the just wait lady. And as your parent is getting older, when you tell your parent you want to do something and they say just give me the money, like, no, don't just give them the money, just give them what they need. Take them on vacations, take them to see the world. Don't listen to them, buy the tickets and just take them, because guess what, I'm wishing I could take back that money. I'm wishing I could take back just assuaging myself to saying yes, mommy. You know? So I'm baking and I'm grieving the loss of my mom right now. My mom is still physically here, but the dementia has stolen the last of what I have left. The Thanksgiving weekend, my mom called me a different name. In my book, Cake Therapy: How Baking Changed My Life, I tell the story of how my mom labored to give me this name. She labored to bring me here. She gave up everything for me. She labored to give me that name, and she forgot it. My mother forgot my name. Thanksgiving weekend, my mom suffered the hallucination, the cries, the my mom has gotten to a place where she's sad. Her memories, her memories are making her sad. She's experienced like trauma, like you could never understand. But then it's only coming up now. My mom's only sharing the things that she's experienced as a child, the things that she had to give up. She's only remembering and regurgitating these things since the advancement of her disease. And I sit back and I said, I wonder, I wish mom had. I wish mom had shared like some of these things that she had been through, because maybe, just maybe, I could have gotten the help she needed, and my mom's past wouldn't be haunting her into the future that she has left. And when I think of baking and I think about how baking has changed my life and has really changed the relationship that I've had with my mom, I'm I was praying that as I was baking my Auntie Nellie's cake, that I could find some answers. I could find my way through communicating with my mom. But I was in the kitchen alone. I was in the kitchen since my Auntie Nellie died. Whenever I made that fruitcake, my mom was always in the kitchen with me because I simply wanted to get that, to curate a memory of mom and I baking Auntie Nellie's fruitcake, because I know that Auntie Nellie baked that fruitcake with her daughter Leisha. Because if you ask Leisha now, she can tell you Auntie Nellie's fruitcake just from memory. I have it written down. So mommy and I usually, make that cake. But this holiday, I was in the kitchen by myself, just making the cake. I didn't have anybody to ask any questions. Well, I had Leisha and Janelle, cousins, my first cousins. So, we would talk to each other because we're trying to really find our way through this holiday without Auntie Nellie, but wanting Auntie Nellie's fruitcake. Um, this is hard. This this new normal for me is hard. In December, I made the decision, not a decision I made lightly, to put my mom into a nursing home. And as you're listening to me, you can hear I have an accent. Yes, I'm Jamaican, and that kind of stuff is very taboo. It's frowned upon. So even as my mom was declining in health, I was holding on to my mom. I was holding on to what my culture dictated. My culture was telling me, you have to take care of my mom. My gut was also telling me that I have to take care of my mom. Because, socialization becomes so innate, right? I was socialized to think that I had to, the best way to take care of your mom is in your own presence. And I felt that way. I still feel that way, right? I believe that in my gut and my heart wholeheartedly. So watching as my mom was declining, I was refusing to let my mother go, even when I knew that my mom she needed to be in a nursing home where she can get the help that she needed. So in December, my brother and I and our spouses decided that, okay, it's time. We have to let mommy go. We have to put mom in a nursing home, um, and just do the best that we can with what we have. That's not an easy decision for me. That wasn't an easy decision for me because here's why. There's one Lorna. Mm. She's the mother to all, but she's my mother. She's Nicoi's mother. She's Altreisha's mother, and she's grandmother to all of our kids. And she gave it all up for us. I'm not gonna lie, she did. She gave up her own future. It started with me. It started with me. She gave up everything so that I could have everything. And we talk about like these are sacrifices that parents make for their children, but she sacrificed it all. She sacrificed it all for me to be here. But now I'm battling with the decision of putting my mom into a nursing home. Even while I know that my mom needed 24-hour nurses to watch her, you know, when I knew that mommy needed nurse to be able to administer her medication on time, her medication on schedule. And even to a point where she doesn't even know my name, and that we had to sweat bullets knowing when our mom is getting on a plane, we knew that it was time. But that time and that decision didn't come easy for me. It was my brother who made that ultimate decision. He was like, I am not sending her back to you because you're holding on to something of the past. We have to provide for her what is best going forward, and you cannot afford to let what others may think of you determine the outcome of this thing. And I, I received that, and I slowly let go of the idea of trying to survey, you know, my mom 24 hours. Then I'm gonna have to put her into a place where she can be taken care of efficiently. That's not easy. I've been eating my way through that decision. I've been baking my way through that. Um, and it's tough because I still haven't gotten to that place where I'm saying that. So I have resigned to the fact that there are only some things that you can control. There's so much that you can control. But I'm saying to my listeners, like, make sure that you do not live your life with regrets. Live out loud, you know, champion the causes that you want to champion. See the world. Go see the world. Take your parent to see the world. Don't listen to them. My brother and I really listened to mom when she said, no, send me the money. You know, don't listen. Don't listen to her. Because we didn't get to truly give her the life that she really, really, really wanted. And I am baking through that regret, to be honest. And I know it's all material, because like we took care of her, in the ways that she should. But it's the added bonus, the things, the addition, the things, the trips, the this, the things that could help her expand her worldview. My mom is 68, for crying out loud. My mom should not be like at the end stage of anything. There's so much life left. So much. You know, I'm grieving the hardships that she's experienced. I'm grieving the hard life that she's experienced. You know, when I told my mom that her sister's husband molested me, she took that very hard. She took it hard because this was her closest sister. But then her closest sister hurt her child, didn't believe her child, told her child that she wanted it. That killed my mom. My mom is suffering some of that trauma right now. And I'm burdened with the fact that I may have waited too long to tell my truth. And I may have waited too long to simply tell my truth because maybe the truth made my mom sick. I don't know. Like, I'm asking myself a myriad of questions. But as I've decided to stand in my truth, and I've decided to ensure that my mother has the best care, the best care that money can offer, I am still grieving. I'm still in pain, but I bake. I bake and I feel healing. I bake and I feel calm. I bake and I feel a stillness because when I'm in those moments and I'm feeling that stillness, I'm thinking, yes, mom saw us become a success. Mom enjoyed some of that success. Mom enjoys paying, hanging out and playing and seeing her grandkids thrive. You know, I say yes, those are the things that makes my mom happy. And she got to experience all of that. My mom, she never asked for trips. Trips are what we wanted to give her. And we begged through the regrets of not being able to, to see the world as much as we've dreamt about, my brother and I, that we dream about with our mom. So I think those are losses for us and not necessarily a loss for her, if you get what I'm saying. But because my mom was such a hard worker, I'm now fueled to champion the needs of girls and keep pushing through my purpose of the Cake Therapy podcast. Believe me, like I feel like this has put fire under my feet where I'm envisioning 2024 to be such a great year for my foundation. I bake with a purpose. I bake for a reason. My gift was for a reason. This talent was for a reason because simply because it came at a time when I was already me. And I say I was already me simply because even though cake changed my life and propelled me into a space where I can now speak my truth, tell my story, impact girls, change lives, I had already found my space. I was existing successfully in that space. But God calls you to do things when you least expect it. Because for me, I believed I was truly walking in my purpose. But then God said, no, no, no. I have another purpose for you, you fatherless girl. You girl, broken girl, this girl from a broken home. You this broken girl from a single parent household. I have another purpose for you, that your story is going to change lives, and in conjunction with this gift of baking that I've given you. And I've truly believed that I'm walking in God's purpose to be able to propel this foundation to the heights that He's ordained it to be. So right now, Cake Therapy is working on a new website. We are working on a new website. We have big things, like really big things in store for our foundation. The podcast we're using that as one of our short-term goals to increase the knowledge, just increase knowledge of alternative art forms that people are using as therapy, and how amazing it's been. I am I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the lessons that my mother taught me. I'm grateful for everything that she's instilled in me. I am grateful for having her as a mother. I'm full because she made me know, and she reminded me every day that I was enough. My cup is full, and now it's running over into the work that I'm doing. I'm excited about this new journey. I'm saddened as I'm making these moves. My mom isn't beside me, and as share the successes that I'm now experiencing, she can no longer feel them as much. I'm grateful for you, the community, for allowing me to share and talk about like the things that I'm literally baking through them. My art is my therapy. I want to give a shout out to Marina Machado, Thona from Lima Cakes, Liana's Cake Pops, um, Amira Elmi from Balloon Engineer, who's been checking in, you know, who've been helpful in propelling me, supporting me, having my back. I want to big up my Campion College friends. You guys know yourselves. Carla, Nikki, Janine, Sikiwi, Kamika, for like having their backs against mine through this journey. I'm grateful. The cake is saving me. The cake is healing me. The cake is supporting me. And once you found that thing, once you found that passion, once you found that gift, once you found that talent, anything, once you found that one thing that soothes your soul, I would say give it your all, give it 100%. Um, and then once you've perfected it, you give it back. Once you've perfected it, give it back. Share it with the world. Believe me, like your gift is your gift, but your gift is to be shared. Give it. It's a gift. You've gotten it. Give some of it away. And that's what I'm doing. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating and for walking in this purposeful journey with me. Thank you for can we talk about the people who've been supporting the Cake Therapy podcast? Can we talk about the people who've been supporting the Cake Therapy Foundation? Wow. Thank you for the small dollars in the mail. You know, you guys are mailing me stuff, it's small. I'm telling you guys, this is a movement. I want to thank you again. Thank you. Thank you for supporting this purpose work, this journey of mine. Bake with me. Bake with me. So from time to time, I am going to jump in here and be authentic. Share the things I'm going through, and then we're gonna bake through it together. I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that as I'm navigating the battles, you know, the trials that life throws at me, I'm able to continue to use cake to combat them. Right now, cake is. So thank you. If you want to share, you know, or support the Cake Therapy Foundation, please do so. $20, $35 can really change the trajectory of one girl's life. Because all it did for me, it took me one cake class. It took me one sitting with cakes and cookies to become me, to become healed by it. So we are at the www.cake-therapy.org. Support us there. Or you could buy us a copy. Buy me a coffee. Buy me a coffee. This goes towards, the girl. You buy me a coffee, it goes towards the girl. You can support me by purchasing my book, Cake Therapy, How Baking Changed My Life. You'll meet Lorna there. You'll meet me in my darkest hours there. And then you will understand the relationship between me and food, the relationship I have with my mom and food and cakes. And then continue to listen to us. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the Cake Therapy Podcast. Share, interact, comments, leave messages. We love those. Thank you. Thank you for listening. So what's next for this space? Tonight, we'll be hosting a bake-a-thon. It's a webinar of sorts. We're talking about what you're baking through. Also, I want to tell you about the exciting guests that are in the future of this podcast. We do have some stalwarts in the cake and the therapy boutique industry. Cake therapy, baking therapy, culinary arts therapy, bibliotherapy, right? Literature heals, guys. We want to connect. We are connecting with some of the leaders in those spaces. So watch this space. And we'll be doing this thing. Let's go on this journey together. Let's continue to walk together. Thank you so much. It has been a source of joy and healing for me. It's my slice of joy and healing every day. Every day I sit in this chair and I speak to artists all over the globe about their healing journey. It would be remiss of me to sit here and pretend that it's all gravy, because it's not. Thank you so much for listening and for joining me today on the Cake Therapy Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Altreisha Foster, and I'm out. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Cake Therapy Podcast. Your support means the world to us. Let us know what you thought about today's episode in the comment section. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And if you found the conversation helpful, please share it with a friend. Also, follow Sugar Spoon Desserts on all social media platforms. We invite you to support Cake Therapy and the work we do with our foundation by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, or by visiting the Cake Therapy website and making a donation. All your support will go towards the Cake Therapy Foundation and the work we are doing to help women and girls. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.